In today's video, we're going to be going over the changing of the hydraulic fluid on your Boss snowplow. In this example, we'll be using a 9.2 Power VXT, but as with all of our snowplows, the fill procedure is clearly outlined in the label on the side of the plow. Now, the schedule for changing the fluid on the plows is generally every season, and why that's important is in the operation and the use of that plow, there is condensation that will collect in that reservoir. So it's very important to get that hydraulic fluid with that moisture out of your system before you store it for the summer. So I recommend changing the fluid at the end of each season. Before you get going, it's always important to first put on your safety equipment. A good pair of safety glasses with side shields is always recommended. A pair of protective safety gloves, as well as steel-toed boots. The tools you'll be using for today for the change of the hydraulic fluid is going to be a basic 7/16 open-end wrench, a basic filter for draining, some type of receptacle to catch the draining actual hydraulic fluid, and in this case we're using a Pineapple's Tidbits can. And for refilling, get your hands on one of these. It's a pretty handy little fill unit itself. It's got a hose, and the fitting on the end of this actually fits real nicely right into the filler elbow on the side of the plow. This is just something that we picked up at a local auto parts store. It's real handy to have. It also has a shut-off valve on here, so I suggest looking into getting one of those. When changing the oil or getting ready to change the oil on the plow, it's first important to bring the wings back and blade on the ground, keeping the plow attached to the truck. To vent the tank, I'll pull off the fill cap just so it allows the fluid to come out completely. The magnetic drain plug at the base of the reservoir is always going to collect metal particles. It's important that when you change the fluid, take a rag and make sure you wipe off any metal particles that are on there, making sure that they're cleaned up so they don't go back into the tank. And don't forget to put the drain plug back in. What we'll be adding is our Boss hydraulic fluid. Now this Boss fluid is specific to our unit, meaning that it has a mil spec of 5606, which makes it rated for cold temperatures. It'll maintain its viscosity. This unit's going to take 2 quarts, but generally when you start filling it, it's not going to accept that full 2 quarts, because remember, there's fluid in the hoses and there's fluid in the manifold and the cylinders right now. So if it was a brand new unit, it would take closer to 2 quarts. Right now, I'm going to put in 1.5 quarts. Then we're going to operate the plow, purging the air from the system through our self-purging breather cap, which is included in the unit. Once that's done, then we're going to top off the fluid. So using an appropriate funnel, in this case we're using a funnel with a hose. The end of the hose actually fits nicely right into the fill elbow on the side. We insert that, and like I said before, we're going to add 1.5 quarts of fluid approximately, then we're going to run the plow. Before you run the plow, just remember to put the fill cap back on. This is just to prevent any debris or anything falling inside or losing the cap. Okay, now after I added that 1.5 quarts of fluid, what I'm going to do is I'm going to activate the plow in approximately 12 functions in each direction. I'm going to raise and lower it about 12 times, extend and retract the rings about 12 times. What that's going to do is any air that's in the system, from me filling and refilling, any air that's in the lines, it's going to work that air through the system back to the tank, and then again it's going to purge it out of that breather cap. Okay, so there's no need to crack a breather line or something in our system. It does it on its own. So I'm going to remove the fill elbow cap, and now I'm simply going to add enough fluid so that I can see the fluid in the bottom of that fill elbow right here. So now you could use the funnel again, but remember it's a little harder to control. So I suggest just pouring directly from the bottle, adding a little bit at a time, until that fluid comes at the bottom of the fill level, which I see it right now. And that's all the higher you want to do it. You don't want to put more fluid in there than it accepts, otherwise it's going to start purging out of that breather cap and you're going to have fluid on the floor. Then again, simply put the cap back on. And the obvious important thing is, of course, when you have used oil of any kind, dispose of it properly into a proper oil receptacle that is disposed of by the proper agencies. There, clean enough to put pineapple tidbits back in.